Well, can you believe it? It's May. Feels like we were just finishing off Christmas and we are into May, and May at Northern Life is a month that we focus on mission. We call it May Mission Month, and in line with our vision for the year, we are believing for everlasting impact. Everlasting is the idea that's driving us through the year, and certainly that's what mission is all about, isn't it? Everlasting impact. The good news of the gospel going to all the world and changing the world. And we believe that God has called us in this little location for 120-something years to make an impact. Amen? It's certainly what we want to do. And so we're believing for another exciting month where we raise money and we raise the profile of the different people we partner with in mission around the world and the organisations we also do work with as well. 9 years ago, we revisioned our approach to world mission around three words: partner, mobilise, and build. And so we still have those three words. That's sort of how we approach global mission. We partner with great people who are doing work for the gospel around the world. We try to mobilise our people, help them to take steps towards entering into mission wherever that is. And we also build capacity with great organisations. So some of our cross-cultural work, as you would know, work in very sensitive locations in the world. So we don't mention their names, and there are a number of them. You'll hear us talk about letters instead of names, and that's why. So my job today is to spend about 5 minutes giving you an overview, and then we'll hear from Hamish as one of our he's a cross-cultural worker, but he's more of a local evangelist in training. Partner, exciting stuff. We are privileged to financially and spiritually and prayerfully support a couple from our own church who we know as T and L. And we'll have a video from them next week. You can see there's a lot of sand where they live. They, out of all the people that we support, are probably the most isolated people. They work amongst millions of people who do not know Jesus and are hostile to the gospel. They're tough. What they're doing is really challenging work, and we've been journeying with them for a long time, and it's an absolute privilege. And so you'll hear a little bit more about that and what they're doing next week. And then there's T and that's T and L. I have to keep reminding myself not to mention their names. And then there's James and Ruth Mollenhauer. Who remembers James and Ruth? They were here not that long ago. Again, talk about tough people. They're in one of the two poorest countries in the world, in South Sudan. They are in the latter end of their working life. I think they're sort of late 50s or early 60s. And they are impressive people who, for 10 years, on top of a 15-year time of cross-cultural work earlier in their lives, they said yes to God's call and went to South Sudan, working with MAF. You might know their story, but just very quickly, James is an incredible handyman, and he can just sort of do anything that God puts in front of him. And so they're working to keep the pilots with MAF in the air in the north of Africa. And Ruth is incredible as well. She's a trained nurse. She works tirelessly. I mean, I'm not sure I've ever seen a report from cross-cultural workers that is so exhausting to watch. Do you know what I mean? But they are so busy for the Lord, and we get to partner with them. Then there's Tobias and Heather Houston. They work in Mozambique with Baptist Mission. They have a family. They've been there for many years. And Tobias is a Bible translator. So we partner with their efforts to reach an unreached people group called the Chiao, and or the Yao, and they speak Chiao. And they are translating the Bible into Chiao for the Yao people who live in Mozambique and Malawi. And there is a very fledgling beginning of a gospel witness with some elders in the local churches, but we are part of the gospel finding a new home in that people group, and that's an incredible privilege. There's Somchai and Sangthong. They're in Thailand. They are quite elderly now. We've been supporting them for many years, many decades. And they do work with Pocket Testament League Australia, and they train leaders and they provide many, like hundreds of thousands of Gospels of John and other parts of the Bible. So that's sort of scriptural again. In that same vein, Mark Hughes we support. He works in organisational leadership with Gospel Recordings Network, and they have produced the Gospel in more than 6,000 languages. So again, strategic work. Another couple, A and K. You might remember A and K were here the end of last year. A couple that are in a hostile part of the world, and they are doing work, lots of different things in humanitarian aid because of some disasters that have happened in that area, but they have designed a language learning model that is being used by all sorts of missionaries from lots of different organisations to learn language in their location. So again, we think it's very strategic, the work that A&K are doing. Then there's our own Hamish Noble, who is in his second year of an apprenticeship with the Graduates Fund, EU Graduates Fund, the Howie program. You'll hear about that in a sec. He's at Sydney Uni, where God has brought the nations to us. And, really exciting to be supporting Hamish. In fact, we support Hamish the most financially of any of our missionaries, and that's been a great privilege because he's part of us and we believe in God's call on him and his wife Mel. And then there's school scripture. There's Asquith Boys and Girls and Normanhurst Boys and Hornsby Girls. We've supported them for a long time, and so that's part of our mission giving. When it comes to Mobilise, we have a fund in our budget to help people take steps towards finding their call in mission. At our church, we've had it going for 9 years and not many people have taken it up. It's probably dwindled in its size in the budget over the years, but that's there. It's our heart. We want to mobilise people into mission. And of course, we put a lot of effort into discipleship work that is doing that, helping mobilise. And then the third part of our mission strategy, as I said, it's partner, mobilise and build. And so building, we work with great organisations, and probably one that objectively is at the top of the pile globally as a not-for-profit is a group called ICM, International Care Ministries, and they work in primarily the Philippines, now in Uganda, Guatemala, and they're looking to expand into Cambodia. And we'll hear from them through Daniel and Ruth. We sent a little short-term mission trip there last year into the Philippines. And we have supported multiple transform programs. They take around 30 people in a community that teach them all sorts of practical things over a couple of months, and it's facilitated by ICM-trained facilitators, but also the network of pastors that draw those people together. And it's incredibly impacting and effective using pastors that are already there. They have literally tens of thousands of pastors mobilised in the Philippines, a network like almost nothing seen anywhere in the world. So we, this year, are supporting 3 transform programs. They're amazing efforts that happen in the Philippines. Then, very quickly, I'm going to just race through these. Chabdai is the organisation that's based in Cambodia, and in that whole area work against slavery in all its forms. They are a coalition. They bring together people from government, fighting at the government level, down to smashing their way into brothels, breaking out people that have been put into child sex slavery. They're a really fantastic organisation, and we continue to support them. Then there's TCM, which is a training organisation based in Austria that our own ex-treasurer Phil Baker is with. He volunteers with them regularly, and they train people up for gospel ministry, mainly in Eastern Europe, European countries. So again, privilege to work with them. Operation Mobilisation, they're based in the war-torn country of Myanmar, and we support midwife training and just general gospel good works through OM. Then there's Baptist World Aid, the ethical fashion guide. They keep companies honest about how they source their clothing so that it's not using unethical workplace situations. Last three, Kairos. We support evangelism in prisons in New South Wales. Then there's the Bible Project, which might sound strange that we support them, but we really believe that one of the best evangelistic opportunities that have ever popped up is the Bible Project. Who's familiar with the Bible Project? Lots of us. Just fantastic. So we support them. We are one of the people that support them. We also, it seems like an odd thing, but we support Life Church, who provide free of charge the platform that we run online church to, and we just think they're a big church, but we support what they're doing. So, drinking from a fire hydrant, that's sort of what we do in mission, and we're proud of the people that we work with and feel like it's an absolute privilege to partner with them. This year, our giving aim is $60,000. Last year was $50,000, and this year we're going for $60,000. Every year I think to myself, Lord, I don't know how we're going to raise this money, and it'll probably be a little bit embarrassing when we raise $5,000. Honestly, I'm actually, that's what I believe all my life as a pastor. I've always believed, I don't know how we're going to do this. And I've never, ever seen a mission budget not met. Not to say that can't happen this time round. Cost of living, all sorts of challenges. But that's the target that we've put before us. So you know, at Northern Life, we don't just have our normal budget and then pick an arbitrary number, throw it against the wall and try to raise more money. We say no to lots of opportunities that people ask us to support. If you think about it, how many people do you have in our year's church services stand up and ask you for money? We stop them. We corral everything into May, basically. And we say, you can't get on that bunch of support names without going through a process that goes through the leadership and who become the mission committee, and then our church. And so every September, we set the new goals for the year ahead. So this $60,000 isn't on top of everything. It's to help support our budget of what we have decided wisely under God's guidance and hopefully with discernment, what we're going to support. Does that make sense? So this is us fulfilling our budget. And I really like that approach. Because I've found as the church grows, there's no end to great things you can support. But if you provide a well thought out pathway, I have found it's easier for people to get behind that. So, having said that, if you have an amazing mission project that you'd love us to consider, let us know, because we make the decision September, October for the new year. And we're really open to that. Some of these have tax deductibility, so talk to our treasurer Ruth about that. And otherwise, if you could mark an envelope, put it in the black box at the back, or go through our online processes, just make sure it's marked May Mission Month, and we'll see how we go. Thank you for listening. It's great to be talking about mission again. And we'll hear from lots of different people, lots of videos. And the first person we're going to hear from, who you could give a warm welcome, is our own Hamish Noble. Thank you, mate.